Friday night, 7:30 p.m. sharp. We foolish. Imagine a foolish man, a silly man, an idiotic man calling the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago foolish. A man who foolish since 1969. A man who foolish as Minister of Housing 2003 November to 2007, building houses in Greenvale for people to drown and flood out. A man who foolish and cutting procurement legislation. A man who foolish and went in parliament and lie on a sitting prime minister and government ministers. A man who foolish and coming to extend curfew and state of emergency when we dead in, shut down, locked down and broke down because of one fool. We are one fool away from total devastation, and that fool is the prime minister. douglAR politics. This thing getting out of hand. douglAR politics. Friday night, 7:30 p.m.
This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR.
Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics. Andy Johnson wrote a column in the Express on page 12, Wednesday, 18th August. Women make better teachers. That is so true. Some of the best teachers I've ever had from UE Primary School, Mrs. Kenny, Mrs. Undine Giuseppe, Mrs. Joseph, come down. Even Mrs. Ramke soon who threw me out of choir at 7 years old because I couldn't sing. And I was kind of getting on bad because I didn't want to sing. But that was very good discipline across the board at UE Primary School and into Fatima College. The women take the time to explain. They are hardworking. They're better prepared. All your man, no wonder over these centuries, man, that's trying to keep women down. But Andy Johnson, well done. Take a read in the column, Andy Johnson. Scholarship winners not being paid. Imagine this in Trinidad and Tobago. Think about where your society has reached. That your best of your best, your brightest, they win a scholarship, they earn a scholarship, and then this PNM government not paying. 5 months gone, and they late payment. Imagine you in a university and people harassing you, you studying, you trying to be number one in your class to graduate with honors, and you have to get a call or go in the office and say, where the money, where the money, where the money? PNM only really don't care about people. Think about the stress that is for children who are on scholarship. Well, they are young adults now. But there's a letter here by MM. Imagine a scholarship winner afraid to put their name because I'm not sure it might be Marshall Montano, double M, Monk Monty. But anyway, I was granted a government scholarship in 2019, which offered, first and foremost, you were not granted a government scholarship. You earned, you worked for, you deserve, you gained, you won a scholarship that is there for you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Nothing was granted to you. You didn't get a grant. A grant is a bursary. What the PNM now giving, they granting bursary through application and who could lick K-Pax and go in Balize house. That is grant. So sir or ma'am, whoever you are, don't get confused. Nobody granted you anything. You earned it. You work hard for it. You deserve it. It's yours. It's your right. No grant. So let me take out that word from here. Which offered a stipend per month that is paid quarterly in addition to book allowance. A contract was signed. The stipend for the July 2021 onwards is late. And the contract state that if you do not repay the government within a specific period, I will have to pay interest. So the government say if you don't pay back or whatever part of it, there will be interest stuck on. But the government under the PNM leaving our scholarship winners suffering like vagrant and paupers without payment. Scholarship winners continue to complain about tardy payments as well as a lack of responses from their designated scholarship officers. Great is the PNM, but Al-Rawi rent, I never hear Al-Rawi complain about rent check being late. How come? And he's not no scholarship winner. He go get a bursary. He's so dunce. Carrie Chris downgrades government. Call me but come in, my brother. Come and give me an explanation why this downgrade is not a downgrade, but it's really the same grade and it's the high grade. Look, Coleman, girl, boy. Coleman, you're smiling. Coleman, this is my favorite picture of you. I've never seen you so happy. Since last week, whenever I saw this picture for the first time, I now see what makes you happy. Coleman, they always say, to each his own, There's someone for everyone. And this really shows it. It proves it. There's really someone for everyone, Colm. Leave Colm there now, because I have a question for Colm. I want you to tell me this one now. Carrie Chris downgrades government. This must be some other government. Can't be the PNM government. Regional Credit Rating Agency, Carrie Chris, yesterday downgraded the sovereign issue ratings of the government by 1 notch to carry AA, foreign and local currency ratings on its regional rating scale. Carrie Chris also assigned a stable outlook to the rating, so downgraded, down there to stay. Very good. The downgrade decision by Carrie Chris, which is based in Port of Spain, came 1 day after Finance Minister Colm But, this smiling fellow, boasted that TNT was the highest ranking sovereign in the CARICOM region and among the highest in Latin America and Caribbean, rated by SLP. And I explained to you all, we're not interested in comparing our rating against another country. We are very interested in what we are, what we were, and where we going. We like to compare ourselves to ourselves, apples to apples, not apples to mango. What you have in that plate there? Rock hard to stop selling cement. Monopoly. Nothing going right in this country. So what does that mean? Good luck to all of you who have a little project, you want to buy some concrete and so on. You will be at the whims and fancies of one producer. Competition is gone. Now, you could move them, but I think I'm coming back to a topic with them. The couple there, the couple meaning 2 of them there, right? Nancy's, I don't know about NLCB, Vax and Win promotion. Eustace Nancy's, National Lottery Control Board chairman, said he knows nothing about a Vax to Win promotion by the NLCB. Really? But it promised that 100 newly vaccinated individuals will be chosen by draw to each win a $5,000 prize. Nancy's said he was not aware of the promotion. You will ask the director, Camille Ford, about that. I'm not aware of that or any approval by the board. This is Eustace Nancy's, chairman of the NLCB, who has no clue that they have ads running on Facebook and across NLCB that tell you if you're vaccinated, bring a card, you could win a prize. All you really, I don't know. I just had to laugh, you know. And Eustace Nancy, you don't know? Because you're on too many board. How much board you're on, brother? And how the Paria board? The money really came from Wilmer Ruperti, ES Euro shipping. Eustace Nancy, I didn't know about that one. You know nothing about that? You know about buying gas from Trafigura coming, ES Euro shipping go out, Deutsche Bank as opposed to RBC and First Citizens Bank of Paria. You know nothing about that? You know nothing about Vax to Win? You know nothing about nothing, Eustace Nancy, my brother, my PNM brother? Why? All you go ahead, yes? You have too much board. PNM have 1 man on 7 board, 1 woman on 9 board, all kind of thing. Great corporate governance. Yeah, man, them UNC, them yellow, them the thief. But thief does get all the money in one bag with one set of people to pull the chain on the bag, you know. That is what thief does do. People who not thieving just put 1 board to 1 person. 1 chairmanship to 1 person. No family members on any boards. No family members of ministers on any boards. That's what Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the UNC did. But Rowley, who have the best friend Noel Garcia, who, that's them 2 of them, whenever they lie, man, they just have big bag all around them. I never see man lying, so I know man does walk with a wallet, some does walk with a little scotch, a little thing, a little cooler. He and Noel Garcia always walking wherever they go with 1 big bag. And he put Noel Garcia in charge of everything. He put the lawyer in charge of heritage. He put the best friend who's so good that they share everything, including Honey Gottweed in charge of Paria. And that's, but he calling other people thief. Rowley calling other people thief. Government dragging its feet on A&V drilling, says Kamla Prasad Bisesa. I wonder if you all citizens are very interested in this. The PNM minister and the PNM Petrotrain and the PNM Petrotrain did an audit into a PNM best friend of the PM Prime Minister of the PNM Prime Minister best friend. And they found that there was something awry. The PNM board cut out the contract of the PNM PM's best friend. And now they went to arbitration. And the lawyer representing the PNM board senior counsel says we must appeal. Over 50 days gone. And the PNM PM's lawyer, who is his best friend and is in charge of the PNM company that is in charge of the audit and the arbitration, and the lawyers to go in the PNM, is now determining whether to go to arbitration. But Kamla Prasad Bisesa of the UNC is asking, opposition leader Kamla Prasad Bisesa has called on the Trinidad Petroleum Holdings Limited Board, led by attorney Michael A.A. Kwamina, to say whether it will be applying to the Supreme Court with respect to the AV drilling fake oil matter. She called on Kwamina, as well as board directors Reynold Ajoda Singh, Joel Harding, Selwyn Lashley, and Eustace Nancis, you again, our next board. How much board you have? You're building a board house? What you doing? You're bored? You're not happy? You're not excited? You're bored? How much board you on by? Well, we asking you again, Nancy, since you didn't know about the vax to win, since you ain't know nothing, what about the fake oil? You know about that? What about the arbitration? Are you listening to senior counsel Deborah Peake? All you go in and do your own thing. Because Rowley say, not my friend. If I ain't call my friend, all your man, I must call my friend. I have nothing to do with that. I wash my hands of that. I Petrotrain. I just say Prime Minister, who appoint the Petrotrain board, who in charge of all the Petrotrain, who puts up Minister of Energy, who in charge of the cabinet, who in charge of the treasury, who has constitutional power over everything. I in charge, but that's my friend and them, let them handle it. That's my personal attorney, but it has nothing to do with me. Very good. But them thief, says Rowley. Rowley say, all of them days thief. Not he, you know. Everybody else is a thief. Red band maxi drivers say, brace for fair hike. Well, I tell all you, and all you vote, I remove it once, I remove it twice, I remove it 3 times, there, right yet, next day, I will remove it again. Now, they remove everything and it come in and it go and get higher. Maxi. Who using Maxi? Call me using no Maxi. Who using Maxi? They just put all in Maxi to go and mamagai all to go and vote for them. And then they just make you pay more to go in the Maxi that you went in to vote for them. Very good. Keep voting PNM. It makes sense. 13 NGOs sign a petition to the minister, the CMO, to lift a ban on open pyre cremations. Well done to all the Hindu organizations who got together, because we need data, we need science. What is the decision, Convent Girl, Rowley, PNM? What is the science banning open pyre cremations? What is the COVID-19? Let's read some of the science. Overview. Let's see. At this time, the CDC states that descendants with COVID-19 may be buried or cremated according to the family's preferences. However, you should check for any additional state and local requirements that may dictate the handling and disposition of the remains of individuals who have died of certain infectious diseases. That's the CDC. The WHO says open pyre cremations is no extra risk, there is no prohibition, and you just follow spacing and protocols as normal. That's what the WHO says. So what's the ban on open pyre cremations? Why? We have a little video, you know. All you run it, let's check.
In Delhi now, you're never far from heartbreak. Almost everyone in this city has been visited by grief. At the Seema Puri crematorium, the loss weighs heavily in the smoldering air, and the dead are piling up.
There are bodies literally everywhere you turn here. I've honestly never seen anything quite like it. And the organizers say that pre-COVID, they might cremate 7 or 8 people a day. Today alone, they've already cremated 55 bodies, and it's not even lunchtime.
Open fire cremations, because it's very important to the Hindu religion to deal with the dead in a specific way, to separate the spirit from the body. 59 cremations, the reporter right there, normal cremations going on, open fire, people around, just social distancing, mask, normal protocols. So why is it banned here in Trinidad and Tobago? How come the only country in the entire planet that bans open fire cremation due to COVID-19 is Trinidad and Tobago? What is the science? Where's the science? A group of major organizations representing the national Hindu community have joined together to request that Health Minister Terence Dayal Singh and Chief Medical Officer CMO Dr. Roshan Parasram take steps to immediately remove the ongoing ban on open fire cremations for COVID-19 victims. The 13 organizations and groups made the plea in a joint media statement late Wednesday. What say you, Dayal Singh, Rowley, Parasram? What science are you using? Is it the science of this human being? Calm friend? Look at this calm friend that have calm giggling. Imagine these groups are accusing the government of prohibition. Imagine that. We don't have to imagine. It is happening. Imagine is a song by John Lennon. This is not imagination. It is actually happening here in Trinidad and Tobago, only country in the world where open fire cremations are prohibited by your PNM government. So what are you talking your first sentence? Such a dishonest human being. Let's go. A Baptist should explain to those 13 groups what prohibition truly means. Yes, and a Baptist will explain that it's PNM that prohibited them and continue to prohibit them even after the colonials left. And it was up to a UNC Indian Prime Minister Bastio Pandey to give a Shouter Baptist holiday, as the PNM governed for 40 years and did not do anything. And then it took a UNC Indian Prime Minister, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, to build the first school for Shouter Baptists, for the Baptist faith and the Baptist religion, because the Indian Prime Ministers in the history of Trinidad and Tobago respected and understood what oppression the Baptists went. You are a PNM supporter and have the audacity to call out and shout out like you are some savior of the Baptists. The PNM has banned and oppressed more black people in the history as Stokely Carmichael, who let him come back to Trinidad and Tobago, ma'am. You trying to rewrite history? Anyway, moving on to calm friend that have calm excited. Everyone can cremate. They simply cannot cremate outdoors. And she put outdoors as 2 words. Yes. That's the prohibition. Anywhere else in the world, open fire cremations are accepted. Please, if you want to educate, tell us the science. Tell us your PNM science. Explain to us what is the danger to human beings by open fire cremation of COVID-19 positive people who passed away. What is the problem? What is the danger? What does it do? Why does it do it? How does it do it? If the wind blows to the left, what happens if the wind blows to the right? Explain the science. Don't come here and just put nonsense up. Absolute nonsense. The issue has gone beyond ludicrous now, yes, because you cannot even understand science. This is the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard. You are attacking religions when the prohibition is taking place right here by the PNM government without basis of fact, without basis of science. PAHO, World Health Organization, CDC, everybody says open fire cremations are absolutely fantastic. Okay, just follow normal protocols as if you're going in grocery or going anywhere else in public places. You are coming to say that somebody, she continues, the CMO has stated his position. Oh no, he has. The CMO has stated no position. The government has stated no position except prohibition. So you are saying that this country must just accept what the government say without basis of fact, without data, without science, without knowledge, without information. These 13 groups need to bring their science and stop trying to fuel a religion and race-based war. Really? Well, where's your science, ma'am? You bring your science. You bring your science and Anil will show your science that says open fire cremations are dangerous and deadly and need to be prohibited and have been prohibited across the globe. You bring the science and I will read it, because take your own advice, because you're talking about a race-based war. But who instigated the war? Who is prohibiting without science? Who is banning without science? Who is showing a track record of picking on one ethnic group, whether for political expediency or for downright racist reasons? And it's very sad what you are. You can support your party, nobody cares, but this sort of racist nonsense needs to stop, and the government needs to explain why is the Hindu religion being picked on. What is the science? Put back up chair and come and by while you're answering, answer me this. Was the position that you hold or have held at X amount of thousands of taxpayers' dollars per month, was that advertised? Was the position taken to cabinet? Was it produced and approved by cabinet? Did it go to PMCD? Did it pass through the PMCD rigors to fit into the organization structure at the NLCB? How many people were invited to apply? What newspaper was the job advertised in? How many people went? Who was the panel who did the interviewing? What were the scores of those who were interviewed? How did you win? How did you earn that job to get all that money for the last 60 months? Please explain, because you like to talk about corruption. You like to talk about wine bottle and so on. Why you don't whine and tell me how come NLCB is below this man, and you who have him so happy, you just get a work just so? Aren't we supposed to follow proper procurement, proper procedure? Please just tell us information, and you give me the information, you put it out there, and I will put it out there to show that you went through a fair, competitive position through proper procurement and transparency, accountability, and you got your position. That is all. Other than that, please try to talk some sense, because you are damaging the country. You could support your PNM, but to inject race and attack a religion without basis, you bring the science. What is the science that's causing the CMO and the government to prohibit open fire cremations? Tell us what's the science that keeps rivers closed forever, but beaches closed, open, closed, open. Why? What was the science? Move that now. Good. People must be fed up looking at that. More woes for Cashew Gardens residents. Now, Cashew Gardens is a project in an area that began when Keith Christopher Rowley was the Minister of Housing, after Patrick Manning moved him from Ministry of Integrated Planning and Development, when after a short 3 months he granted his best friend's son, who joined Woodgill Company, outline approval to go up in the sky in Shoreland, in Shorelands down in his constituency. John Rahal's son, Joseph Rahal, joined with his good other friend, Gillen of Woodgill. Woodgill had been denied permission to go up on 2 occasions before that. Carlos Sabga, all kind of people had applied for decades and were banned because there's a codicil that said in that area you can only go up a certain amount. I think it's 4 stories, 2 to 4 stories, nothing more. But Keith Rowley's friend went on a company in August 2003, and by Keith Rowley's hand, his signature, by ministerial approval, Keith Rowley signed the outline approval for Woodgill to increase the asset base from some 10 million to what was rumored to be 850 million upwards, as they went up in 2 towers. Manning, hearing about that, removed Rowley from that ministry and put him into housing. Rowley then went to find Noel Garcia Andre Montai, yes, same Montai, PNM treasurer, who the court don't say what about he, right? And then Faris Al-Rawi, he just finished driving his 120Y. He went on that HDC board, and that same HDC board bought Greenvale land from John Rahal, which is the minister then housing Rowley's best friend, and that land was agricultural land. They applied to the Ministry of Integrated Planning and Development that Rowley just left, and Camille Robinson Regis was there. But somehow, under Manning, she was very sensible and intelligent. She rejected Rowley and Al-Rawi's and Andre Montai appeal and application for change of use for the land at Greenvale, and denied the permission to build because it was, one, agricultural land, so they did not change the land use, and two, it was floodplain. Floodplain. Rowley minister went through with his board and built houses in the floodplain on the land, and people up there now frightened that they go drown in Greenvale. That is Rowley. He also did this Edinburgh 500 towers that scar the central scenery for decades and wasted $88 million all down and across Trinidad and Tobago. You can see evidence of Rowley's incarnation as Minister of Housing with Noel Garcia, whether it's Las Alturas in the north, straight down to Harmony Hall, down in south. Problems. Well, here's another one that Rowley and Noel Garcia tag team that they did. Cashew Gardens. Remember, I just read about 2 weeks ago there were problems with drainage and so on, people having problems and a house breaking away. Well, look, Newsday, Section 8, Thursday, August 19, 2021, page 11. More woes for Cashew Gardens residents. Well, all those woes are thanks to former Housing Minister Keith Christopher Rowley and his boy Noel Garcia. Wherever they is now, they probably have a bag lying with them. One big bag. Anywhere they move is a big, big bag. I never see nothing so. Cashew Gardens 2, Central, Carsonfield, Couva, has been highlighted recently. And residents have been making complaints for over 15 years. See, back to 2006. Who was the Minister of Housing? Keith Christopher Rowley. About sinking and cracked houses caused by an incomplete drain on Edinburgh Road. The base for the lights is there, but because the contractor has not received payment, no lights installed, said a resident. And this is the big man, Las Alturas man, Noel Garcia, who's in charge. When people come to see what they got after completing their financials with TTMF, these are citizens who are buying housing. They're not getting no gift, you know. They're paying their hard-earned money for the house. Yes, it may be subsidized, but 750, 500,000, 750,000, and Rowley talking to them and telling them about don't turn it into a ghetto. He don't want to see no sneakers on wires and don't hang up no clothes on railing. Who the hell Rowley's feel he is? But that's how he sees black people, and all you vote for he because he's a black man? Go ahead. They are welcome to a building overgrown with grass, rotten roofs, unconnected water lines, and sewage pipes that are broken off. Great is Rowley, great is Noel Garcia, great is the PNM. I wonder where the bag if it in this bush. Look at how the bush all over the people and them house. Continuing, we have had conversations with Mr. Noel Garcia. We saw a bag at his side. Oh, so no, that wasn't really there. My eyes getting old now. By Mr. Noel Garcia, HDC chairman, among many others. Even those issues highlighted in the Newsday from Cashew Gardens Central too were already brought to the attention of HDC. Right? A single unit costs $450,000 and a townhouse $545,000. Before the family moved in, I noticed the concrete in front of the building dropping. I spoke to HDC about it and they said it was a minor issue. We moved in here in February 2020 and all 3 floods occurred between March and July of this year. So Cashew Gardens is another place. Go back and check and see. Were there approvals? Did Noel Garcia and Rowley get the proper approvals? Was this land changed use? Was this agricultural land? Was it floodplain land? Is it the same Greenville thing? Rowley said in a front page article in The Guardian that yes, they had to go ahead and breach approvals and move without the requisite approvals because they had to get things done. That's what he said. And then Guardian dropped the story like a hot potato. I still have it home. The article turned yellow, but I have it and I'm holding it. We lost our living room set, said this person. Kitchen, cupboard, deep freeze, standing freezer, Xbox, couch set, food stuff. We lost one or two books for the children, and some were damaged. The building seems to be undermined because of flooding and a burst water line. So on top of that, they have water line bust too. The plumbing is cast. He said his home's foundation had separated from the rest of the building. This is Rowley and Noel Garcia, and you all have Rowley in charge of the whole country now. Everything in the country. This is him when he was just in charge of building house. He said the home's foundation had separated from it. He said he was then given a runaround and ended up leaving without any relief when he went to the HDC. They ran me out like a dog, said this citizen. Look the bag down there, oh, they see it? They always together, once they together, one big bag, you know, what that did like them don't walk with a pouch, a wallet, big bag, boy. She said, after the last flooding, we killed 5 snakes. Don't talk about the centipedes. When it floods, they crawl up the wall and the house in a swarm. Add to that all the feces and residential garbage, dead rodents and agricultural poisons that are mixed up in the flood water. Asked about the flooding, Lewis of HDC said he was aware of the situation at Castlefield 3C and they were taking measures to mitigate against it, including the installation of 2 temporary pumps. After the article in the Newsday, the gardens, they were visited by the Minister of Housing, the HDC Chairman Noel Garcia, Managing Director J.Cell McFarlane. How the horny goatweed does work? You know, what's the efficacy of it? Does it work? Does it function? J.Cell McFarlane. I'm just asking for a friend now. He have a bald head like mine, but he's not really a friend. How the horny goatweed does work? J.Cell McFarlane, it will work, especially after COVID-19 positive. How it working? What? Village Ram, boy. Village Ram have people with walk all over, boy. Village Ram. Yeah? You really know when they under so much stress. You can't perform from east, west, north, and south, all over the place. Them girl and them how walk here, Village Ram. You want to buy shares in honey goatweed. You can't just buy one butter. Oh God, Village Ram, boy. We coming to deal with you. Hey, where her foster daddy? No, this is not a daddy. It's a new daddy. But I tell all you, I want all you move that. We come in there just now. Share the life. Share the life. I'm going, all you don't get them no teaser, you know. All right. So all the big boys was there. And then they said, Newsday had last contacted HDC. Water pumps were again installed, but later removed. So HDC put in water pump and then remove it. Let me see what other goodies the PNM could do. Aranguez coconut farmers call for answers after excavator destroys crops. This is the diversification. We in a pandemic, our food price inflation is going out of hand. People cannot afford to go in the grocery. Food prices rising across the board. And the PNM plan is E-Tech, mash up and throw out farmers. And now, excavator destroys crops, coconut. And coconut could be used for diversification, agro-processing, lots of products from coconut. Talking about diversification of the economy. Yes. Fisheries, sport fishing, agro-processing from fisheries, fish farming, fishing, reefs, tourism, diving, water sports, sun, sea, sand, surf, wind sports, wind fair, surfing series. Yeah? How are you going to do that with oil and oil slick? And then I read in an article, Institute of Marine Affairs, They print an article in the Newsday, Wednesday, August 18th. Listen to this. Coastal communities and ocean users operate within a dynamic environment, says the Institute of Marine Affairs. Faced with a range of ocean hazards that are both natural and human-induced, these can have a significant impact on marine environments and can result in loss of life and livelihoods. Really, Institute of Marine Affairs? And we in Trinidad and Tobago just had to witness, and we can hear nothing from you, the Institute of Marine Affairs, an oil spill in the Gulf of Paria that Gary Aboud and fishermen and friends of the sea had to go out in a pirogue, wasting fishing time, but showing us miles and miles of oil and showing a company, a government vessel driving through it and cutting it up. And you all have nothing to say. You said you're investigating, but you come to write out and tell us an article about we must protect the environment and so on. When you are not doing your job, all over the world, we are now pariahs. We are known as Neanderthals. We are known as the most backward country now under this PNM Rowley. The globe across the board, students in primary school, in high school, they are environmentally conscious. There's a different breed and generation of young people. My little 6-year-old daughter who's going to be 7 in November, talking about recycling and doing projects on the environment and taking care of the sea and doing all these things already. But in Trinidad and Tobago, the government under Rowley, A.A. Kwamina, Paria man, Rowley Bredgin, Saraba, they don't share honey goat weed. Newman George sending boat to cut up oil, and look what has gone out to the world about Trinidad and Tobago because of Rowley, the foolish dunce. All you look at it and don't get vexed, you know. Don't get vexed. Video has tens of thousands of views across the globe, and Trinidad and Tobago's reputation and name is tarnished because of incompetent leaders who do not care and find that funny. If you have an oil spill, things may happen. Well, you should try to prevent it at all costs with proper maintenance, proper procedures, proper checks, proper balances. But if there's one, there are certain high standard modern ways to deal with it, and driving a boat around to cut it up and let it sink to put damage on our seabed that will remain there for hundreds of years is nonsensical, ridiculous, and it's downright disgraceful. And that video has gone out about Trinidad and Tobago because of the Prime Minister, who would always tell you the truth, and his cabinet and the PNM. He's a proud black man. Yes, and that's proud black oil killing our fisheries, killing our fish, killing our environment, and killing the planet. Well done, Rowley. You're number 1 in the world. Man on 40,000 bail for giving false travel info. Okay, COVID-19 pandemic. What about giving false information to the population on a daily basis through press conferences from the Prime Minister, the Minister of Convent-Girl, and doctors who are playing the fool because they have stipend to get from PNM? What about there anything for them? Or just this man, 40,000 bail? Cómplice, oposición critica silencio de Maduro ante la trata de migrantes venezolanos. Accomplice, opposition criticizes Maduro's silence on the trafficking of Venezuelan migrants. Silence about the trafficking of Venezuelan migrants involving Trinidad and Tobago and other countries. Silence. But isn't there an eerie silence over here too in Trinidad and Tobago? Because the borders are still porous. Coast Guard intercepts a boat with Venezuelans. I think I told you all that the state of emergency and lockdown with no retail and no jobs, that Venezuelans were returning to Venezuela to suffer in silence in their home state because they love the country. And secondly, that the illegal immigration had slowed down because communication from on land was going across, that no jobs, no money to be made here. And I told you all that as soon as you start to open back a little bit, the illegal migration will begin again. And if you do not create a security dome and you leave the borders porous as the PNM has done for 6 years and 18 months in a pandemic, then illegal immigrants will flow back in here with everything, their belongings and COVID-19 variants. Didn't I tell you all that? And so no sooner said than done. We now start to open back. Coast Guard intercepts boat with Venezuelans. A pirogue crewed by locals was intercepted at Erin Point in South Trinidad on Monday night by the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard. The Coast Guard in a statement yesterday said that at 10:50 p.m. they spotted a vessel which had a number of Venezuelan migrants aboard and they held. So they held one. How many got through? How many got through the porous net? The Ministry of Health also says Delta variant could overwhelm the healthcare system. Health Minister Terence Dialsing warned that the COVID-19 Delta variant has the potential to overwhelm both the parallel healthcare system and created to deal with COVID-19 as well as the public healthcare system. Yeah, serious? You now know that? Tuesday, August 17th, Convent Girl? All you run some videos there for me. Run it, because I don't want to say that I tell all you, so you know. Run it. We have been in state of emergency for 2 weeks as I speak now. This is 2 weeks exact. And we are still with 18 deaths and 622 cases. If that eventually goes down under the lockdown, shutdown and brought down, as soon as we open back up and WhatsApp messages go across to Venezuela, ¿qué pasa? Está bien, está trabajando ahora, esto en Trinidad y Tobago, no hay emergencia, nada, ven acá, ven, 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 and they start to come across, the numbers are going to go back up as we are interacting and we are moving and we are interfacing with illegal immigrants who come in fresh with Brazilian variant, normal variant, and listen to me carefully now, the Indian variant, which I told you last show was spotted in Brazil, has now been confirmed in northern Brazil. So it has moved north. Venezuela shares a border with Brazil. The northern border of Brazil is the southern border of Venezuela. So the Indian variant will spread into Venezuela through the southern border, because Venezuelans are going back and forth across the border to Brazil to get food, medicine, water, supplies. Once that starts to make its way up through Venezuela, the next border is Trinidad and Tobago's southern border is 7 miles away from Venezuela's northern border. So depending on the rate of spread, the Indian variant we can expect, due to Ethelbert, Rowley, Smallpin, and the incompetence of the entire PNM government, and clearly the business community and everyone who is not taking it seriously. Because I beg all you, I tell all you before the state of emergency, before the lockdown, please Please tell Rowley no lockdown unless the borders are locked down. Let them tell you what they have done. Let them show you that Coast Guard vessels are surrounding that perimeter, that army camps are set up, helicopters flying, radar going, checking it out, police roadblocks, give Gary Griffith support. You have state of emergency, yet 5,000 army men sitting down eating 3 square meals in Tetrande. Put them down on the point across, set up all the blocks, roadblocks, health officials, set up even when you catch some coming across places, camps with immigration records, health officials to document who's coming, test them, what they have, and so on, to put some order into the system. Or else when you start to open back, within 3 months we will have to shut down again because we won't. And then you all want to say PNM, UNC, the same. It's not. It's not the same. That was 82 days ago, I tell you that. And today we can read that the Minister of Health is now saying that the Delta variant, and that Indian variant, it was now being called around that time Delta variant, because the Indian government and so on was taking offense to it be calling the Indian variant, okay? So the Indian variant is the Delta variant. So even before it was fully named, I am telling you all, and the UNC is telling you all, what we would have done, what we would have put in place to prevent that from coming, to ensure the borders are not porous, to ensure that all the sacrifices made by you, the citizens, loss of wages, loss of jobs, loss of businesses in this lockdown, that the sacrifices will reap rewards and benefits by keeping the variants out that will attack our children and so on. And now the PNM is glibly saying the Delta variant is here and it will overwhelm. The Minister of Health, Terence Yalsing, warned that the COVID-19 Delta variant has the potential to overwhelm both the parallel healthcare system created to deal with COVID-19 as well as the public healthcare system. He now saying that, that means that he has no ability to foresee, to prevent, to plan, to put into place, to keep us safe. We are just at the mercy of the elements as if there was nothing. So therefore, this is a very serious thing, and elections have consequences. So don't tell me and believe the hype and nonsense pushed by the media that Rowley's a dunce and foolish, but the UNC is the same. Rowley's a supreme dunce. Nobody could compare to Rowley, not even other PNM people. Rowley is a dunce clear. He's a gold medalist. He's an Olympic world record holder. Dunce, incompetent, does not care. And then you have this one who get an honorary doctorate from the PNM UE, headed by a former PNM minister who get to act as deputy vice principal, and he get the honorary. The man so unashamed, he can't even spell international, but he get it for international work and so on, CARICOM regional. He keep we safe here local. We right there local, mash up, deaden, stressing, shut down, broke down, locked down, and cussed down. And he accepting an honorary doctorate because the PNM give. Listen to what he said. You heard what I said 82 days ago. Let me hear what this clown said. And then this man, anybody who follow the science would know that on June 23rd, once the testing is not suppressed, once the games are not played by this government, that from June 23rd, there would be increases like we have not seen in a while. Even after 35, 40 days of state of emergency and total complete lockdown, over $5 billion lost to GDP. We will see increases because it is pure science. Yes, we can pray, and all of y'all, I beg y'all, pray to whoever you pray to, that it doesn't happen, that somehow we get lucky because God is a Trinity, supreme being is a Trinity. Pray. But the science says there will be a spike, and all of the sacrifices made for the state of emergency and the lockdown will be to naught. And anybody who is responsible and in charge of the situation, knowing the science, knowing the incubation period, knowing that that was a super spreader event, would put things in place to prepare for the coming spike in deaths and COVID positive infections. But what have you all put in place for this spike? How many more ventilators have you all purchased and flown into the country in advance or preparing for that spike that is to come? How much more oxygen have you purchased? How many more beds have you put into the parallel health sector? How much more PPE have you bought for the doctors and nurses? What have you done? Have you bought more ambulances? Put more oxygen in it? Put more preparation? What have you done? You all are just sitting there pretending the super spreader event didn't happen and trying to convince us that it didn't happen. Because here, Parashram, CMO, let's wait and see. Was vaccination chaos a super spreader event? Whether or not the gathering of crowds outside the health centers last week was a super spreader event is a wait and see situation. Really? So our lives are in the hands of a clown who's saying, let's wait and see. Oh God, oh, they're dead. All right, let me panic now. Oh good, no, let me wait and see. I just want to clap you. You must have gotten your medical degree on the back of a Frosted Flakes box. Huh? It's a wait and see. Since when science is wait and see? Human beings crowd together, infectious disease, Brazilian variant. Wait and see. Don't prepare for it. Don't get ready for it. Don't move resources towards it. Do not tell the clowns in cabinet, bring more money, bring more things, bring more medicine, bring more. Nah, don't do that. Only wait and see. Okay. Okay, brother. I am totally confident in your words that we will wait and see and we will not prepare. Don't bother to prepare. You keep going good. You know why? Because this young man, he go wait and see too for all you. Right? Wait and see. That's June 15th. Now is what? 20th August? How many people over 60 who went and were put in that position, that invidious position of going out for vaccines that did not exist, vaccines that were not here, to go and crowd, super spread, and infectious Brazilian variant? Let's see. Since we waited to see, let's see how many elderly people have died since then. Oh my goodness. June 23rd to 30th June, 63 elderly deaths. 1st July to 31st July, 155 elderly citizens died. 1st August to 19th August, 99 elderly citizens over 60 died. Total elderly deaths till Mr. Honorary Doctorate, Mr. Balize Doctorate, Mr. Godong in the red jersey Doctorate, and wine for his doctorate. 317 citizens, Mr. Wait and See. Have you waited? Have you seen? And what's your opinion, you disgraceful fool? You're going to dress as what you're going to take. You're going to tell your children to put on their best clothes, to go and let daddy see, get daddy to get his honorary doctorate from the PNMUE. You really, that's what you're going to teach them to do? To achieve nothing, to fail, to wait and see? What's your opinion on that? Tell me something now. Tell me something now, Mr. Man. Mr. Man of the Year, Express Man of the Year. To the girl them darling. Very well done. Movie now, movie, because this is not funny. All of y'all who feel it could be funny. 317 people dead, dead, dead. And everything in this country is a PNM flipping joke. We're going to take a break. And thank you to y'all who supported Masala Hut. Call them. Call them for the best soup in the Southland. Penal Environs, or you call them Ali Avenue, Penal, Masala Hut. You will love this soup. Order 2. If you have a family of 4, Order 6, because one soup is just not enough. No, seriously. And thank you to the douglAR Politics family for supporting. You all send your small businesses here. We advertising everybody free. Whoever small businesses, one by one, we go in. We have to try to help to save something. Many have not. Many have fallen by the wayside. Many businesses will never reopen. To those who are struggling and happening and trying to fight, we support you. So thank you. Call Masala Hut 687-0782. I think I got the number correct. I don't know. Archie, show them if I get it correct. We're coming back.
Just to share with you, last Thursday I took the jab, AstraZeneca vaccine for the COVID. It was very painless. Well, not totally painless, but it was so efficient, it was so well done. I suffered very, very mild side effects, maybe a slight fever on the first evening, and slight pain here, but otherwise fine. I want to encourage everyone, check with your doctors, of course, and go out and take your vaccine.
And welcome back. Share the live, please, man. Share the live, please. You know, but I really, foster daddy, I do not sugar foster daddy. I was talking about who is this Sharda Satram. I could not believe that this woman would have the audacity as a non-elected, non-government worker, nothing, no power, no parliamentarian, no constituency office, not an elected member, nobody here with no seat. I was wondering how this lady, how she gets so powerful if she had a foster sugar daddy or something that would foster good relations and watch her comings and goings. I could not believe that. But then I tell all you the story. I mean, oh my goodness, I don't know that. As Foster take picture with everybody, so or how come you always in a picture with she and her by the office and build up her office and plenty contract going, and she was in a UNC and Foster, oh look, Foster opened me office and she boasting about Foster office. Did she put up everybody office? When Colm opened me office, she put up Colm, but open the office. When Randall Mitchell, oh, no, Randall, everybody let's take Randall, girl. When any of them MPs, the my boy McClatchy from down in Labrador, when he opened the office, she pulls it up. How come she only pulls up the Foster? So, Foster, what is this, boy? But I tell you, and he'll tell you, you know, my brother, I warn you. Foster don't say, and he'll never warn you, you know. I don't know you, so I don't like you or dislike you. But I warn you about this. I warn you about the village ram. Taking the horny goat weed, you know. I warn you. Grabby Wabby learn the hard way. My partner who at the banker with Donna Cox learn the hard way. Oh Lord, Newman George learn the hard way. Plenty people learn the hard way. Woman getting posts, big posts all over the place. Learn the hard way about the goat weed. I try to warn you. Don't remember me warning you? Foster, don't say that Anil did not warn you, brother. It's a man code. I warn you. All you run the video to remind Foster that the douglAR warned him. Run it. But let me tell you something. Foster, if there's anything I know about your PNM cabinet, be careful, boy. Because the big man upstairs, I mean, he's not performing at his best right now. He hoping the honey goat weed take effect. But, you know the village ram just come, ask Grabby Wabby. Grabby Wabby come to do his work, bring his lovely wife. She went down to help that man down in Carnage Day to work on a campaign. And Grabby Wabby, well, the goat weed wasn't needed then at that time because it was pre-COVID positive. But ask Randall Mitchell too, like in the PNM, all you be careful, you know, what all you have, you know. Because I am minister that take a thing. Randall Mitchell had a thing. Brian Manning come down in the Southland, take his girl, married it, and now he looking to take he dog too. He take his portfolio, he take his seat, he take his girl, and now he looking for the man dog. All your PNM, I don't trust none of this of Foster. I don't use not a sugar Foster daddy, you know. Oh God, who's that? Where did this find? No wonder, man, take your girl, boy. That you? Oh, God. I tell all you, I say, Foster, slow your roll. All of this, all this picture, all this contract, office bill, white tape board, URP office, constituency office, power, writing letter to URP to instruct. Where all this? I say, Foster, cool it. Foster, I say, you gotta watch out. They have a village ram by all you who just come and take all your thing. You gotta talk, call Grabby Wabby, call some of them boys and find out how to protect your peace, control yourself. Foster, I didn't warn you, boy. The douglAR warned you. But look what happened, Foster. Hey, Foster, look the horny goat weed, boy. Well, look the village ram. He coming, Foster. Oh, Lord, Foster. They go back and all the PNM. I tell you, the village ram coming. The only thing saving you right now, Foster, is that he not performing at his best, boy. Because since the COVID-19 savior, because men above 70 with comorbidities, when they get COVID-19 positive, they have that problem with erectile dysfunction, I tell you. So he just grooming it now. Because he can't really, he need double dose of horny goat weed. That's why the horny goat weed on his mind. So right now he grooming it. You know he's a good groomer. He groomed from since 69. Yeah, nothing bride and groom, you know. He is a groomer. Like he just groomed all. So Foster, don't say the douglAR didn't warn you, you know. I tell you, put things in place. But like you lost it already, boy, Foster. Movie and he goat now. Yes, from Sharda, Satram. Police, all you call she yet? And Ravi Ratiram, well done. A good media release showing the total insanity of this Sharda Satram, a normal citizen instructing a program manager of a government program involving taxpayers' money on who she will rescind and who she recommend and authorize. You can't authorize nothing. You have no authority. But I wondered how come this woman gets so much power. Is it the last picture? Put back that last picture there. How come she gets so big, so bold? Remember when I read the letter, I could not believe. I take out my phone and call the police. How this lady here gets so powerful, so strong, because she was moving regular. In this picture, she was getting walk and thing. Yeah. Clarence and them was giving she thing that she not supposed to get, which was absolutely wrong, and supposed to go to members of parliament, Namdevco hampers. But all of a sudden, to write a letter to Inda Parsham, the head of the URP program, something had to take place to make she feel that she's so powerful. I wonder what it could be. We saw that smile quite a few times, you know, when we play the Village Ram song for all you. So you go ahead, Trinidad and Tobago. That's corporate governance for you. You understand? It's called pum-pum governance. Move them. Now, I'm going to through something for you to show you once again. I have shown you, and I continue to show you, why in Trinidad and Tobago, our politics sometimes frustrates intelligent people. People who feel that UNC and PNM, same nonsense, same rubbish, bunch of old thieves, so don't care about nobody, no creativity, no plans, no programs. I'm going to show you once again why you have that belief even though it's not true. Because if you take the time to check the policies of Kamala Prasad-Bissessar and Keith Christopher Rowley, it's chalk and cheese. Rowley had no plan, he has no heart, he has no care, he does nothing. All he does is take away from all the citizens to put in the hands of his friends, financiers, and those close to him. That's all. He's very simple in his arithmetic. Take everything from you and put it here. That's all he does. But what it does is bring pain, sufferation, angst, anxiety, hunger to the population. And you keep telling me, how many of you used to tell me, some of you all understand now. But for those of you who still to understand, I'm going to show you that the mass media, the Express and TV6, PNM 2015, till October 2020. CNC3 and Guardian still PNM, the Guardian of Rowley's K-Pax, Newsday, Judy Raymond, she and all suffering from the honey goatweed withdrawal. So understand this, all the radio stations, 95.5, 100.5, go across the board, 13 radio stations, 96.1, Chinese laundry, right, all PNM. So you imagine you are in hours and hours of PNM nonsense. It gets in your mind, whether consciously or subconsciously. Let me show you again. Because if you choose any ministry under Kamla Prasad Bisesa, trade and industry, ease of doing business, 66th in the world. Now under Rowley, 105th. Any ministry, call it foreign direct investment, plus 1 billion US under Kamla, negative 439 million US under Rowley. Energy, Point Lisas, water, 72%, 24/7 supply under Kamla, 18% under Rowley. Flood, anything is flood, not only in the main road, wide road, highway, river, any road, avenue, everything flood out under Rowley. Sport, Kamla, Rowley, Shamfa. You call it culture, pan, arts, development, financing, investment, Kamla, Rowley, cut. And come to tell you, he built a thing for Despas. That is diversification. Go through any ministry and just compare it. Just look at what Kamla Prasad Bisesa did, whether it is health, education, science and tertiary education under Fazal Karim, nurse education, MIC centers, NESE centers, 106 schools built, gas station, roads, pavement, whatever, no new taxes, food prices, agriculture, $1 billion per year, whereas PNM is 400 million. Check anything and you would realize Kamla, Rowley. But why? Why is their perception still? Boy, Anil, all the UNC do real good. Oh God, all you could thief, boy, they're so corrupt. Really? Let's see something. This is the Daily Express editorial, Thursday, 19th August. Foolishness, Mr. Prime Minister. In a textbook case of gaslighting the population, Prime Minister Keith Rowley is now attempting to pin the blame on the public for the failure of successive governments to diversify the economy. Dr. Rowley betrayed an astonishing lack of understanding of a very concept, and they go on to shatter him and show that he is idiotic, nonsensical, and the two examples about sandals and smelting, which utilize the same existing industries that bring revenue, being the gas, oil and gas sector and the tourism, Tobago sector, exact that we've been doing all the time, that is not diversification. They show that he is totally incompetent, he doesn't understand, and he's very foolish. That's what the Express says. But here what they do, if you see in the first paragraph what they said, successive governments. So Rowley is showing that he is the fool, but the Express is showing you that Rowley is the fool, but everybody else is fools too. All the other governments. They then go on to say, however, given that no government has seen the crucial importance of making these linkages over the course of almost 50 years, right? So no government in 50 years has made improvements, right? Our political leaders and their governments have never really engaged the challenge of economic diversification. Let's analyze that Express. So the Express position is that Rowley is an idiot who has done nothing and knows nothing. But it's okay because all other governments are dotish too. Let's analyze. Diversification is a goal. Okay, so if you're at this point, you want to reach this point. It's a continuum. This cannot happen overnight. The problem in Trinidad and Tobago that I would put to you is that every government or opposition that becomes government and puts things in place to move towards diversification, the PNM returns to office. And the PNM takes us back down to zero because of their lack of understanding, their lack of diversification, their lack of initiative, their lack of leadership, their lack of policy, and their lack of care. So, 1986, NAR came in, trying to stabilize after years of corruption, thieving, and so on, that y'all all of a sudden y'all forget. NAR came in, had to stabilize, had to take hard austerity decisions and so on, and started to get the government back on an even keel, started to invest and diversify and move into other areas. Yes, and move into other areas. Then, boom, PNM returns in 1991 after insurrection 1990. PNM returns, what happens? 1995, Pandey wins. Pandey is prime minister. Moving forward, $8 a barrel, diversifying, increasing education, bringing dollar for dollar, agro-processing, agricultural development, enhancement of different various. Currently, 1975 Limited moving with a plan to diversify away from sugar and move down the line, downstream. Point Lisa's development moving on. Tourism, sport tourism, Tobago, Pandey moving in the right direction. Wins re-election. And then three fellas realized that they had gone too far to turn black now, because Carlos John was in the party and moving forward. Ramesh, Ralph, and Romeo decide to mash up everything. And what happens? PNM comes back. PNM. And we go right back down the continuum of diversification. In comes Kamla Prasad Bisesa, and the diversification begins. Sport tourism, sport development, with a plan to move forward to make here the hub of training for the Central American and Caribbean areas, with competitions with Tobago, with Trinidad, across the board, with growth poles, development, sports medicine, sport industry, professional sport, hotel, these kind of things. Kamla also diversified with moving into agro-processing, creating jobs. She got the ease of doing business down from 97 in the world down to 65. The competitive index down into the 60s. Now it's back up. Then boom, Rowley lies with the help of the media, and we come back to Rowley. And if we had moved along this way, we come back to zero, because Rowley is at the worst of the worst out of all the PNM. So for the Express to say that all governments of the same are the same is disingenuous. And the Express needs to be journalistic, to investigate, to do the work and present information. To just cast aspersions on governments across the board without data, without information, without analysis is wrong. That's one point. Here we have, this is a Newsday article now, right? All of a sudden, this fella here is Marvin Gonzalez, right? I think he also was a lawyer before in some way, where he helped draft the merit point system from the Ministry of Works and Transport and so on. And the Justice Budu Singh just recently said it's the worst drafted law. It's giving judges headache. This is Marvin Gonzalez. But this is an article in the Newsday, page 19. Okay? Marking 1 year at Lopino Bonaire West MP, Gonzalez focused on helping those most in need. So a PR piece by the Newsday focusing on this fellow. Now, what's the significance of that? This minister is the worst performing minister in the worst performing ministry. We don't have water even though we're flooding. He just went through and is in the midst of a big scandal where it is alleged that he made a report of a man in a van on the wrong side of the van that he saw while he was at a function down in Carnage down. So he know that it was the wrong man in the wrong van in the wrong place. And then senior management, pressure was brought on senior management to try to pervert the cause of justice and tell an investigator to change his report. These are very serious allegations that need to be or are being investigated by the police and the DPP. But yet, the Newsday puts a PR piece on Marvin Gonzalez trying to make us feel like he's doing a good job. And let me ask you this. As we're moving along, have you all ever seen any PR piece like that during 2010 to 2015 on Kamla Prasad Bisesa or her ministers doing a great job and doing? No, it was always something. They pick somebody, they go in a constituency. You can't go in a constituency and find everybody who happy. The papers will find in any people partnership minister or MP 3 or 4 people to say, boy, them is the worst. Now, them could have Balize juice all in the nose hole, but they're printing that. Kamala's government never got no PR piece. What happening with the story, with the investigation? Where it reach? We ain't want to know about this. What about Wasa? Where the man going? Why the man resign? All they care about that? Or they just tell me, oh, this PNM guy is great. And as we say that, farmers appeal for water to protect animals from diseases. Right here in the same business news there, you know. The animal and them, the pig and them, deading from lack of water. But the news there is telling us that this man who cannot provide water for pig, he good. He's doing a good job. That's what the media does. I'm not done there yet. All of this is in just 2 days. So think about all of this nonsense trickling into you subconsciously. Yes, I notice it and I'm bringing it to your attention. But subconscious marketing is the worst, most deadly type. Look at this now. No hesitancy, says The Guardian, talking about children going for Pfizer vaccine. No hesitancy. What message does that send? All right, great, vaccines are here. Rowley's doing great. Vaccination program is fantastic. No hesitancy. Things are good. We're moving along. Doesn't it send that message? Is that the truth? What do you mean no hesitancy? Hesitancy does not begin at 0. If we are vaccinating 12 to 18-year-olds, they are makeup of the population. Hesitancy is not 100%. 100% of the population adult and the population in general and the children who are influenced by adults. 100% of the people are not hesitant. You have about 30% of the people who are gung-ho for vaccination. They want vaccination. They're ready to go for vaccination. So therefore, in the first days of vaccination of the children, the people who are gung-ho with children will take their children. Hesitancy does not begin, for example, until if you're going to vaccinate, let's say 91,000 children, 12 to 18, as I said, the first 30,000 want the vaccine. Parents want it. They have the science. They believe in it. They're happy to go and take it. That's 30,000. You only reach 4,000 or 5,000 children taking jabs. But the Guardian is already telling you the population, no hesitancy. PNM is good. PNM is great. Vaccination program, everything is fantastic. Hesitancy begins after 30,000. Then they know that. If they're 91,000, the first 30,000 they're willing to take. The next 30,000 need education. They need information. They're unsure. They need to be taught, to be given information, to be consulted with, to get them to go. And then you have some after 60,000 and so that them not taken. They're not. So to put no hesitancy at the beginning on the first 2 days is absolutely ludicrous, malicious, and wicked, and intended to put in your mind that somehow Keith Rowley and his incompetent government that has us behind and last in the world on both the health part of the COVID-19 pandemic and the economic devastation. We are the last, they're the bottom in the world because of incompetence. They then continue, check The Guardian, that wasn't enough with no hesitancy. They say good sign from Pfizer rollout. So COVID-19 vaccines to persons 12 to 18. They say, having said that, this media house congratulates. So they're talking about good sign from Pfizer rollout. As I just told you, there's no hesitancy in the first set of people to go. Secondly, it's Pfizer. So why are they not discussing that maybe the Rolls-Royce or the different brands of vaccine are dealing with hesitancy because people have read up and they understand the efficacy rates and they understand the process of what the vaccines do and the deleterious effects and so on. Why then talk about that and compare that and bring us real trustworthy information? Hey, the next part now, and I'm going to ask you all this. Take your minds back, 2010 May to 2015 September. See if you ever saw anything like this in an editorial. Having said that, this media house congratulates Minister of Education Dr. Nyan Gatsby-Dolly and Minister in the Ministry Lisa Morris-Julian for being among the first parents to take their children for vaccines. So they are praising ministers openly. Have you, nothing wrong with that, I'm happy with that. But the point I'm making is, between 2010 and 2015, Fazal Karim could have built 3 university campuses. You never see an editorial saying, we want to congratulate Fazal Karim. Anil Roberts could have increased funding from 10 million to 140 million. You will never see, well done, Minister Roberts. You meaning you're trying to get sport. He could have had Spirit of Sport Awards, Rural Coaching Caravan, Women in Sport, Elite Funding Increase, Cricket Sponsorship, Sport Pro League Sponsorship, across the board Super League Sponsorship, Grassroots Football Tournament going on, Coaching, Sports Science, Velodrome building and going up in the sky, Aquatic Center, first time promised by Dr. Eric Williams back in 1966 when Laura Denif won her first regional medal. Roberts bring it. Not one day would you see. Well done, Minister Roberts. But here you have Guardian openly praising 2 PNM ministers, one who's just bundles, who has done nothing, who took away scholarship and put bursary, who has not built a school, who has cut funding for UTT come across the board, no school feeding, no laptops. Over 46,000 children did not go to school online for the last 17 months. But the Guardian is praising the Minister of Education because she takes her child to get injection. You see the games? I ain't done there yet. Let me continue. This is all in a day and a half, you know, to go in your brain to make you feel that the PNM and Rowley is not totally incompetent, that they are passable, and the UNC and PNM same thing, so leave Rowley. That's what they do. So let's continue. We go to the business section of the Guardian now. And all of a sudden, Conrad Enel, the PNM, says, NGC turn around. They just lost $4.1 billion last year. They come in a quarter and they make a little profit because prices gone up. Conrad Enel come and make a statement, NGC turn around, we happy. Very good, I happy for Conrad Enel. He should do that and try to blow smoke up all your K-Pacs as much as he want, that he walk. But look what the Business Guardian does. It takes a writer, Joel Julian, puts his name and his face here in the Business Guardian, right? So you think, when you read this, you're reading an article penned and thought and analyzed by Joel Julian, who you may feel is an independent business writer. But when you read the entire article is just a rehash of the statement made by Conrad Enel. Look all through here. Look, all this is Conrad Enel's statement from NGC, which is a PNM statement. And look, the group launched the new Carry Green, that is Enel. Enel said, national energy continue. Look at the end here. Enel said, while. So the whole thing is Enel. By the way, Enel, who's your daddy? Enel. But they put Joel Julian, and they're talking about NGC's financial turnaround. My goodness, the PNM is amazing. Let's go vote for them again, says the Guardian. They're not done there yet. The same Business Guardian yesterday, Thursday. Energy sector, you know. After the dark comes the light. The energy sector that you know, after the dark, it go get darker. That's what you know if you know the truth. Nikwan flop, Petrotrin shut down, not opening back, Patriotic Mama Guide 4 times, going on 5 times, Roger leaning to the left and begging, trying to lick K-Pacs from the left stand, like that. Nothing going on. 10,879 jobs lost there. Gas price point, Lisa's 11 companies shut down and gone. Atlantic LNG train 1 will never start back, going to be mothballed. And this Guardian, in light of all of that, says, after the dark comes the light. Rowley's doing a great job, isn't it, according to the Guardian? That's what they do. Now that's just in 1.5 days newspaper. And that's not all. There's lots more in there. And then they take this and it goes on CNC3. And it goes into your brain, into your mind share. And then the radio station talk show host with 2 O-levels to rub together, take the headline and say, yes, after the dark comes the light. Oh yeah, and financial turnaround, the country is going good. And we want to congratulate Minister Godspeed Dolly and Lisa Morris Julian. They gave the children a job. Wow. And there was no hesitancy. Everything is good. That's what they do. And that's what the perception is. And we have to stop allowing them to do that and read and look and see. Kamala Prasad says, children like one, baby milk grant, single mothers, differently able, increased sport, increased culture, Tobago, respect, MIC Center, gas station in Tobago, sea bridge moving, tourism, sport tourism, agro-processing, agricultural investment, agricultural roads, Pradial Larceny Unit, NGC, gas price, investment, deep water, deep block, gas fines, investment, refinery operating, job creation, 55,000 jobs, environmental, green initiative, development, less traffic, better roads, no taxes, no VAT on food. Just check those things and stop letting these people mamagayu, rowlies, take this, cut school feeding, cut laptop, cut sport funding, cut culture, cut span in school, cut differently able, cut autistic grant, cut all kind of thing across the board, book grant, every single thing, cut UTT, shut down UTT, cut COSTAT, shut down MIC, shut down NESC. And they're trying to still tell you that Rowley is the same as Kamala. Talking about Rowley the same as Kamala. Look at this. Flooding. Waiting game. Flooding all over Trinidad and Tobago. Terrifying flood experience. Citizens all over the country flooding in their house, losing everything. Woodland, Caroni, banks, breach their rivers. Flood madness in this country. Forced to flee in boat with all their belongings. This is Rowley. And listen to The Guardian. For many citizens, particularly those who face the worst of this week's floods and landslides, the experience must have triggered bad memories of the catastrophic weather events of October 2018. So we in 2021, October 2018, Rowley was Prime Minister. Catastrophic events, loss, devastation. Therefore, a Prime Minister should have at that time implemented strategies, mitigating strategies, put in drainage plans and so on, so that that cannot happen again. 3 years later, total complete failure. On that occasion, the worst floods in decades followed 2 days of rainfall on October 19th and 20th, which caused rivers in Caroni, Diego Martin, Maraval to breach their banks. Residents in surrounding communities had to be evacuated. Several areas were inaccessible, and millions of dollars in property damage was incurred. That's 2018. Therefore, Rowley is the leader, Rowley is the Prime Minister, must put things in place to provide solutions to solve the problem. 3 years later, problem worse, problem exacerbated, problem not solved. Therefore, conclusion, Rowley is incompetent. Rowley should resign. Someone else should have the job. Isn't that normal? More than 150,000 people were directly affected, and the situation was serious enough for Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley to declare the event a national disaster. Almost 3 years later, questions must be asked about the level of disaster preparedness across the country since then, and whether enough was done by the relevant ministries and agencies ahead of this year's hurricane season to mitigate against floods and landslides. So they are still now asking the question. We don't see that nothing changed. Failure to failure. The Guardian saying, oh, we need to ask the question, was enough done to mitigate? No, nothing was done. Total, complete failure, waste of time. Ridiculous. It's worse now than 2018 because less rain fell in this period than in the October 19th and 20th. But on top of that, while y'all saying Rowley and Kamala are the same, let us really see. Let's see, as the entire country was devastated by floods for 2 days, entire regions underwater, people suffering millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in losses, animals, crops lost. Let us see what the Prime Minister today, what this Prime Minister, Keith Christopher Rowley, while all his citizens are suffering, let's see what Rowley did, because we're saying that Rowley and Kamala are the same. Okay, people flood out, people suffering. Let's see what Rowley was doing. Show me, please.
So,
Bobby had died you?
Oh, C3.
I can't believe it.
So Rowley is from the north.
What,
Drove
the
all
dead crowd
the way
with
through
hardly people shopping?
devastated, flooded out areas to go to C3 Mall. He drove past all the black people, all the brown people, to look for pink people in the C3 Mall in a suit, fancy shoes, soft shoes, and a well-laundered suit to go C3 Mall. While all of the citizens are suffering and flooded out and mopping out, losing their bed, their properties, drainage, their TVs, their fridges, no food, no water. This clown in a dress-up fancy suit and shoe went C3 Mall to look for a photo op. Oh, he went to the mall. Okay, that's Rowley. Let us see what Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar did when, on the day that she swore in and was dressed up, paid makeup artists and so on and hairdresser to do her hair and makeup because it's an important day, a day of swearing in as Prime Minister, the first Prime Minister female in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, a very important day for a little girl from Siparia who came up by her bootstraps. Let's see what she did on that day. Oh, what? Boots, vests, long pants, walking with the people, checking on people to make sure they're okay, have all the ministers walking with her, issuing instructions, looking to see what is done, make sure children are all right, giving words of inspiration, lifting people who are depressed, talking to human beings, showing them empathy, sympathy, moving forward, and then instructing the ministers relevant. Chandra Sharma, I want this done in local government. I want brooms, mattresses, Clorox, all of these put in the corporations. I owe the PM, you Minister of National Security, come out, do this. I want the ODPM to move faster. Why are these people not there? What is this? Why are these? You Fire Services, National Security, we need to make sure that they have riverine rescue and they have equipment and to meet people and save lives. You Works and Transport, what is causing this? Plan in 2 months, get it. And from 2010, there was only one more set of flood in Diego Martin, and all her 6 ministers and everything was there so fast that the PNM and Rowley was balling, but so fast and so much money and so much help for people. What, Kamala? Corruption, too much help for people. Do y'all recall that? So you tell me, C3, fancy shoe, ugly man, dotish ram, goat weed, horny goat weed clung in C3 Mall while people suffering. Or Kamala Persad-Bissessar on the day that she swear in, look what she did. You tell me if both of them is the same. And then that man at C3 Mall while people suffering has the audacity to call us foolish Trinis, blaming the citizens for lack of diversification. If that alone doesn't show you that the man is a total incompetent idiot, I do not know what else to tell you. To talk about a smelter plant at 100,000 tons per year when Russia produces 10 million tons of aluminum per year. South Africa, which is one of the smallest producers, produces 1.2 million tons a year. You have China, you have huge countries with vast open spaces that are smelting toxic aluminum. Yes, aluminum is necessary, but you don't need to smelt it smack dab in people's nose hole, in people's lungs, in people where they live, because they get throat cancer, lung cancer, testicular cancer. He comes and says that would have diversified the economy when it depends on natural gas, large amounts. When the TGU take-or-pay contract by Ken Julian cost this country hundreds of millions of dollars before we even turn on one LED light bulb. That man talks about that as diversification, and an energy sector project as diversification of the economy. And then, what was even more amazing, the man who cut PAN in school, who cut payment to Panorama, who cut support for the PAN, who treated the PAN man as though he was a vagrant, that man helps my band, Desperados, after promising to return them to the hill by removing and reducing crime, allowing desperados to practice where they live, creating an environment where we could go up on the hill, spend some money, buy some rum and soda, buy some corn soup and so on, and listen to PAN over Syria, go and hear concerts and so on. He failed to reduce the crime rate and had to put despots down on the flat, down in town. It's an admission and a confession of failure. But then this man then says, by helping despots with $14 million, with no plan, no proposal, no policy, because while I am a despots fanatic, I believe in fairness and equity. And if you are helping PAN men, even though I am a despot, you must have a policy that all PAN groups, all PAN bands could apply to the Ministry of Culture or the Office of the Prime Minister for assistance in developing their band areas, their concert halls and so on, getting equipment. It should be a policy, not just spend where you feel or how you feel because you is Rowley. What's that? But then he makes the most ludicrous, ridiculous statement in the history of educated people. He said by giving despots 14 million to make a panyard, that is diversifying the economy. Really? That's how you're going to diversify the economy? If you're going to diversify the economy with PAN, dunce, this is what you would need to do. You would need to stop mamagaing people and talk about PAN factories. Create and build PAN factories by E-Tech in Industrial Park, up in Wallerfield, all over Trinidad, down in Labray, down in Point 14. Vast areas with the correct equipment, materials, fires, furnaces. Hire the best arrangers, PAN producers, makers across the board. Put 5 areas for factory production. Get and tender out for a marketing agency, one of those big Valdez and Tory or this one, that one, whatever ad agency, to create a marketing plan and program to hit the Canadian market, US market, European market, Australia and Japan with the PAN. Trinidad and Tobago, create a logo, create a name, create ads, create movement, put funding into it, get the materials, get the aluminum, get the sound, create different sizes and packages and start to sell PAN, make PAN. Stop treating PAN as a stepchild. You need to get UE, give UE an extra 200 million per year for just PAN innovation, creative young people with ideas, digital PAN, this PAN, a PAN app. Get them thinking about ideas that I cannot even think and just fund that. Have a PAN research institute at UE or and UTT and fund it properly. Investment. Put back PAN in schools. Stop cutting funding and put PAN in every school, primary school, secondary school, across the board. PAN competition for PAN ideas. Pay the PAN men. Have Panorama concert, Napa funding, Ministry of Culture, promoting pan and brilliance. Look for synergies between the pan and other orchestras and operas and so on across the globe, in Italy, in London, in New York. Start to link soca, calypso and pan. Get some of our superstar artists to always promote the pan in fetes. Let the Ministry of Culture sponsor pan in every fete, every all-inclusive sponsored by the Ministry of Culture. Create an industry in pan, not one pan yard come where we could go and drink from and hear this was going ting. That's diversification. Put pan on radio, sponsor the Ministry of Arts and Culture sponsoring pan segments, pan music, moving with pay for pan in every big soca song, that the artists don't have to pay for a pan man. Get the best pan men in the studios and get linkages with Nicki Minaj and big international artists, Sean Paul and so on, to push more pan in the music, even if we have to pay them for it or sponsor the video or sponsor the album. That's how you invest. Create an interest globally in pan. Create a market and then sell the pan. That's called diversification. Not just giving my pan side 14 million to say pingiling. Pan and sport. Every sporting competition in Trinidad and Tobago, the anthem and the entertainment part, the march past, must have pan, sponsored by the Ministry of Sport, the Ministry of Youth, the Ministry of Culture. Those are just some of the ideas for diversification through pan. On the top of my head, your clown dance, Rowley. Am I out of time? I think so. I think I'm out of time. I'm going to deal with vaccine hesitancy and trust on Tuesday. So you all stay tuned, because that's very important. We have vaccine now, they say, okay, 8 months late, but go and take it. For those of you who are not taking it, try to read, try to understand. Yes, it's not perfect. Yes, there are some dangers. Don't believe that all vaccines are the same. They're not. And don't believe that the vaccines that we took when we were children are the same as those now. Those now are emergency approval because we're in a pandemic and we need to get going, because the pandemic is killing our economy, and economic starvation and devastation is as bad as dying from the pandemic. People are going below the poverty line. So trust is important, but trust comes from truth. Not when you have a bag of clowns like Convent Girl lying. Convent Girl, you had on your mask good. You was wearing it properly. You're covering nose and mouth. One fool away. Convent Girl, you complete dunce. We gone. Good night.
Politics, we don't get no kicks. Trinidad and Tobago, do we have this thing out the fix? We coming with facts, cut them down like axe. Every kid and race finally got places love to the max. And when we tell them, Anil, douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics, listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics.
They take a Gadaha and make him Prime Minister. This man play he dotish, he's a big disaster. He divide and destroy we beautiful country. That is what does happen when you vote a donkey. There are 2 little islands in the Caribbean Sea. The people was prosperous, everybody was happy. But when birds too happy, they does mess in the nest. So they vote for the Gadaha and put him to the test. Everything the Gadaha talk is a load of donkey mess. The country soon realized that he was brainless. They say he's the puppet for the 1%. He clueless and useless and incompetent. If you oppose him strongly, he going lick it up. His obia and voodoo and real spiritual blow. His record as a failure will go unsurpassed. Because that is what does happen when you vote a jackass.